All right, so I'm Beck Lane, and this is Catalyst and Company. Catalyst and Company, where we're catalysts in each other's lives as well as our own. And we work at being the artists we've always wanted to be. So it's a day after the election, and I've paused, or not after the election, after the inauguration. I've paused my Instagram account and almost paused or almost deactivated my Facebook account. I'm just not in the mood. But neither am I in the mood for painting either, or getting dressed. Thus, I'm in really ugly sweatpants. I was actually going to do a live feed, but YouTube isn't allowing me to do a live feed. It keeps telling me to rotate the device, and no matter how I rotate it, it's not going live. So I just decided to come on for a few minutes in my really horribly ugly pants and start laying something out. What I started was actually the view from my porch in Georgia, which seems a little obsessive and silly, but there were reasons I took photographs, and this is one. I took a bunch of photographs from my porch. So it's hard to see, but I started laying out basic shapes of this semi-landscape. Oh, crap. There we go. Now, I thought for certain, once I turned on the camera, I'd be able to make things flow in my head as well as on the canvas. But my neighbor pulled up, and he's very much a Trump supporter, very much in love with Trump, very much in love with Ron DeSantis, very much in love with the white male nationalist deals. He also owes me money, which is typical for a Trump supporter, and is, of course, blaming me for the money he owes me. So immediately my heart sunk. My heart has been sunk since the election. But knowing someone of that capacity is within reaching distance of me, it's just, it's killing me. But now, as I said, I've gone through and deleted some of the social media that I've kind of depended on. Now, everybody was introduced to my artwork here on YouTube. This was now in 2013, so 13 years ago. And as time went on, the audience seemed to shift over to Facebook and then over to Instagram. Okay, just email. Then over to Instagram. So what I did was I switched from YouTube going heavily into YouTube, over to Facebook, where I went heavily for a while. Then I went into Instagram and was using that more regularly. And so it's been a constant flow. And now with the inauguration and all the threats and terrors that have come with it, and the acceptance of truly horrible behavior, I've just decided to remove myself from that. I mean, I do have an audience on Facebook. A lot of them went to Facebook through YouTube. And for a while, I was selling off of Facebook selling artwork off of Facebook more than off of YouTube. For a little while, it was Instagram, then it was Facebook again. And I'm not chasing the algorithms. Like most of us, I'm never going to be in that algorithm world. I'm not twirling in a skirt. I'm not doing the same makeup tutorial that everyone else is doing. So I just don't care. I really don't care. I don't want to have to chase the latest fad only to have that trend out. So it's just sticking with me, with us, with what we do, and seeing what happens. Unfortunately, the reference material for this is on my iPad, so I'm not entirely sure what I should be doing right now. In terms of shape and color. But that seems to be the theme as a whole. I don't entirely know what I should be doing now. But I know what I don't want to be doing, and it is feeding my absolute terror, my fear, my anxiety, and my depression with the garbage that's going on. Sorry, it kind of bounces a little bit here and there. I know that I need to be painting. I'm a painter. I'm a painter. I'm a painter. And as has been pointed out to me, I'm a little bit of a failure as a painter because I'm not selling as much as I need to. What I find frustrating in that notification, that qualification of me as a painter, is I already know that. I don't need to be told. But it's also not something that I can control entirely. I don't have an agent yet. I don't have a rep yet. I don't have a third party going, look at this. Look at this prolific human being. Look at the way they have created a new way to paint and a new way to see things. As one artistic director pointed out to me a couple weeks ago, you're doing this on your own. And I'm saying that So everyone on this platform can relate. Everyone who sees this can relate. Doing it on my own, saying, I'm here. I have value. I have worth. Ooh, that's not right. And it is particularly upsetting and frustrating right now because we are locked into a culture that says nobody is worth shit, that nobody's life is of any value unless we're contributing to the betterment of millionaires and billionaires and giving them more money and more power to control our thoughts and our lives. So I've shut down, or almost shut down, everything that is feeding into that understanding and driving that understanding just to the forefront of everything that I am. You know, we've watched all these trends in creativity where you have to be the fastest, you have to be the sparkliest, you have to be the funnest, you have to do short little videos about your work, you have to do things that fit in to a construct and conform. And conform to things we may not feel. We may not genuinely feel, but we feel that we have to because we have been told by people who have been told, by people who have been told, by people who have been told, by people who have been told. That we all have to hammer ourselves into these tiny, itty-bitty little boxes and not be able or make ourselves incapable of being individual human beings. Boy, this is hard without the reference material. So I've been really, really, really struggling mentally and emotionally. To just get out of bed. And I don't come on here and talk about any of this because poor me, although sometimes, yeah, definitely poor me. But I know there are millions and millions and millions of other people who feel the exact same way. And I'm whispering now, I'm not using my full voice because of that man next door. I do not want to give him the satisfaction of hearing me. Or like the hateful Trump supporters online, access to me at all. There's so much that goes into just existing in this world now. It's exhausting. It was exhausting before when it was, don't paint that, paint this. You should do this, you should do that. You should do kitty portraits. You should do portraits of happy white children. You should do things that I won't do, but I find somewhat pleasing, and you need to do it for me. So my message today is all of this. Right now, that's all I can do is turn my back on it. I have been neck deep. I've been this deep in the level of, pardon me, conformity, hatred, discrimination, sexism, all the isms. I drowned in it most of my life. And there was a period of time when it just seemed like, oh my God, we're all going to be able to exist in this world. We have a lovely future ahead of us. And I work with people who honestly still think that way. But right now, I'm tired and I'm discouraged, like millions and millions and millions and millions of other people. So if I'm not selling on Facebook, I'm not selling, or selling as a result of Facebook, not selling as a result of Instagram. If we're just having hatred thrown at us through different sites, why bother? Why continue to stay there? This is where we have built our community. This is where I have set a level of, you don't bring that to my house, meaning my YouTube channel. You don't bring it here. Oh, I'm talking long. So I've been thinking the past few days, when I have been able to get out of bed, then in fact, maybe we'll concentrate here again. We'll come back to YouTube. It seems to be somewhat untouched and unscathed by the administration right now. Whereas certainly TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram are being used as footballs and as ways to prop up this hatred, this vile behavior. And I don't want to participate. So I'm not really sure why I decided to turn on the camera and tell you all of that, other than I need somebody to talk to. I have nobody. And that's fine. This is actually another painting based off of photographs from Georgia. This was the view I had on my porch from one chair to another with my hammock in between. I loved it there. I loved it. It was quiet. It was calm. was before I had to think about going out in public and dealing with horrible people again. You know, I have trans friends that are really scared. Some of whom think I don't understand, which is bizarre to me. I mean, look at me. I'm a woman. I'm a woman who's been thrown out of women's bathrooms because people thought I was a man. Even with this voice and this, like, delicate little jawline. Not that I would defend it, defend myself in that situation, because I don't care. And why should I have to? Once again, the reference material is over there. But what I love about both paintings of Georgia, it is, they're both expressions of solitude, silence, peace. This is actually me looking at the second rocking chair on my porch, which was never filled. And what I kept thinking about the entire time I was looking at it, you know, for those 30 some odd days, 38 days, or whatever it was, it reminded me of Vincent and his paintings of his bedroom. Vincent's paintings of his bedroom in Arles, he had his bed and his chair. And when he was in Arles, he had hoped to build a community, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, and he had hoped to build a community there. He wanted to invite artists, he wanted to be part of things, he wanted to help other people. He was not accepted by the people around him, by the community around him, wholeheartedly. There were individuals that did. But Gauguin came and they just ended up butting heads, and Gauguin's massive ego butted heads with Van Gogh's ego, but also with all his brokenness. And Gauguin's massive ego really ate away at Van Gogh, that he wasn't able to see the value of Van Gogh really, or encourage it in any way. So while I was sitting there looking at this little chair, this rocking chair, this is what I was thinking about. Was how in my life, as in your life, we've invited people in. Strangers, friends, whoever. And it wasn't always a good idea. Not for us. Now, in Van Gogh's life, he was told a million times, over and over again, how wrong he was about everything. He wasn't the right personality to be a minister. He wasn't the right personality to be a teacher of any kind or to hold any job, that he never fit in. He never, ever, ever fit in, no matter what he did. Painting was the one thing. It was his purpose in life. At first, it wasn't, wasn't successful. He was never truly successful. His brother Theo was the only one who actually saw his value. But then his his sister-in-law, after Theo and Vincent passed away, understood the value and tried really hard to wake the world up. Now, the one thing Vincent had that I think we can identify with, in all of his darkest times, where he had no one, he had nothing, he had no one, and literally nobody but Theo cared, he had painting. He had painting. Not as a hobby, not as a way to conform, not as a way to fulfill other wishes of people who he should be, their decisions of who he should be. He painted. He painted. He fulfilled his purpose every minute he could. Even when he was broken and in the insane asylums, he was fulfilling his purpose because he knew. So I'm going to paint my little chair and my little orange hammock and think of this Vincent and try to figure out how to navigate the world now with these people in it, these people having the loudest voices and the most control, these people who have thrown decency and kindness aside in terms of greed and selfishness. Or to fulfill, rather, their greed and selfishness. It's going to be here. It's going to be in our face. It's going to be all around us, and it's not going to get easy. So what I'm trying to do, is work out how I'm going to keep doing this. How I'm going to stay out of my bed, keep myself from sleeping most of the day, and how I'm going to keep fulfilling my life's purpose in spite of it all. We've done it now. We've been doing it here for 13 years. And we've had some really dark times. But not quite to this level. I think we personally had very dark times. We personally had dark times, but not millions and tens of millions of us all at once who can see how wrong this is, how truly horrible and wrong this is. There's some solace in that. But as someone who's lived through heartbreak over and over and over and over again, I don't want anyone to feel that way. I don't want tens of millions of people to lose hope in themselves, in their futures, and in the people around them. Part of my sadness too is my scooter broke down last week. I'm waiting for it to get repaired so I can leave this place, leave my little studio and go to the gym where I find solace. I go at night. I like going at night. I can put in my headphones, block everything out, walk. I've lost my cane too. Walk, exercise, and lift my spirits, knowing that I am stronger because I get to stand on that. And I don't say this because me. It is for you. It's hopefully something you can take with you in the world, all of it. But it's me going in on the treadmill, getting on the elliptical, lifting weights and going, I am strong, I am strong, I am strong, over and over and over and over again. And we can say without any uncertainty, we are strong. We are stronger than that. We are stronger than the hate. We are stronger than the conformity that is being required of us and will be required of us more as we move along. Or hopefully we are anyway. That's what we're going to convince ourselves, that we are stronger than this. Okay, this has been going on for over a half hour. So I'm going to shut this off, pull up my reference material, hope this helped somebody or some people in some sort of way. I hope you feel my sadness. I don't want you to feel my sadness, but my anger and determination. And honestly, if you were able to get out of bed today, pat yourself on the back. If you were able to create today, give yourself a reward, whether it's a library book, an audio book, which I'm putting off getting, actually putting money into until, till I earn it. But like I've got library books on an audio library book on my phone. But maybe you're able to leave the house. Get yourself something that you truly love, even if it's for a minute. A chocolate or a cake. Make sure that it's something of quality and of value so that it feels special and you feel like you're recognizing your power, your strength in the face of this. Maybe it is just a find. I used to do walks on Cape Cod when I lived there, and I would get so down because I was being told what a piece of garbage I was, and nobody was helping. And a relationship had broken up because I wasn't good enough, whatever, I wasn't whatever enough. I used to go for walks, and I would find these rusty little pieces of things on the side of the road and take them home, and I had a whole wall where I'd tack them up. I would tack these little things up, and they were like Christmas presents to me. They were something to hold on to that said, you left the house today. You did it. You went for a walk. When I had Bugsy, and Bugsy and I would go for a walk, I would find things in the woods or along the beach, seashells, just, or rocks or little things that I found beautiful, and I would collect them. What are they called? Anyway, I can't remember now the name of them. Horseshoe crabs. They would shed their outer shell certain times a year, and they would be all over the beach, and I would collect them and put them in jars or put them on display, and it was to say, look at what you did today. Look at what you did. You left the house. You had no money. You had no prospects. People were telling you what a failure you are, and you got up and you did it anyway. Here is your reward. This is the reminder that you did it. I had another trick I did one time when I was severely paralyzed by depression. It took a long time for me to figure it out because I couldn't move. I would go to work and I would be told what a piece of garbage I was all day long by my boss. How useless, disorganized I was. That's what Eric would tell me. And then, of course, the vice presidents from both coasts of this one company would fly in and be like, oh my God, I can't believe you do this. How much does this cost? This is phenomenal. How do you do it for that little money? The vice presidents as well, and they would be like, Beck, you're one of the top 5 in the entire company. Meanwhile, my boss would tell me, you're disorganized, you don't do this, you don't do that, while I'm doing 24 illustrations a day for this asshole. And then I'd come home and, the person in my house wouldn't have bothered to vacuum or do the dishes, and so I'd end up having that burden as well. And once that, even before then, when that relationship had ended, I was paralyzed. I laid on the couch. I would stare out the window. I would cry, just like I've been doing now. And so one day I got it in my head, you are going to get up and you are going to leave the house and you are going to get in the car and you are going to drive to this one spot, and if you talk to anyone there, just say hello. You can get yourself a prize, a gift, a reward. And so I turned that into a weekly thing where once a week I could go to this one place and spend $3 on myself and get like a doily or a green plate. I love green plates that are like leaves and things. I love that old-fashioned look. Once I had graduated that, I said, okay, you've done this now for so many days or so many weeks. Now you're going to go to your favorite coffee shop and get a cup of coffee that I liked with coconut in it. And then once I had done those two things for a number of weeks, then I said, okay, now you can walk across the store and get yourself coconut chocolate. I love coconut, and I love coconut that's been dipped in chocolate. So I was allowed to get 2 pieces of that, so it was incremental. And so now what I'm suggesting is that we find ways to continue to create, like Van Gogh. Think of Vincent when I'm saying this, that we find ways to keep making our art, to keep holding some amount of hope, and to reward ourselves. I can't leave my house again because the scooter is broken down and I've lost my cane, so that means I can't walk to even my local Walgreens because I might lose feeling in my legs. But it'll come back. The scooter is coming back at some point. And I will be able to leave periodically and do things that I, at least see a couple of things that I like to see. It's a hard time we're going into, but let's start building some practices where we don't get lost, where we don't let the loud voices drown us out, drown our souls out, drown our drive out. I've gotten lost at times with people just you shooting me to death. Just you shooting me while I have stalkers, while I have people who've overly obsessed with my work and me for some reason. But I think, we've drowned in that, in the you should be anyone but you. Now we're dealing with something new, something horribly reprehensible and far more damaging. So we've got to find ways to, like an alcoholic, someone who's learned to live without alcohol, like me, learn to live without alcohol or drugs. Now we have to find a way to navigate the world, even though they're constantly throwing alcohol and drugs at us, or at least throwing alcohol. So I'm going to be thinking on it. You think on it. There are a couple of clues, a couple of suggestions I have. They say go outdoors. Going outdoors doesn't feel safe. Going to crowded places doesn't feel safe. So now where else are we going to go? What else are we going to do? These are things we have to think about now. All right, so on that happy note, I'm going to go. It's been almost 45 minutes. Like I said, I was going to do a live feed, but my iPad decided I had to keep turning it, and it wouldn't decide on a direction that worked for it, so here we are. Anywho, I'm Beck Lane, and we'll see. I may be focusing more back on YouTube, where it is not as controlled. We have algorithms where I've been drowned in the algorithms, but at least we have a place. We have a place. All right. Ciao. Meow, meow, meow.